The God power within. So that is a phrase or a sentence that I heard when I was listening to an audiobook, The Art of Life by Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes, for those of you who are new to spirituality, is one of the founders of religious science. And he wrote this book. I think it was published in like the 40s. And so I've been listening to it. You know, as you get into spirituality, at least in where I'm concerned, I keep wanting to feed myself more information around spirituality. And so my friend Tiffany here has introduced me to this book, and I started listening to it. And that phrase stood out for me. So that's going to be the launching pad for the conversation that Tiffany and I are going to have today. And for those of you who've come in and out of this, you know that our conversations start on one thing and then we kind of meander around. But that's going to be the sort of the centerpiece of the conversation today. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me in this. And thank you for bringing that audiobook to my attention. It's, because it's a book, it's very lengthy. I haven't listened to it, in one sitting. I've been listening to it over a period of days. But
Mhm.
that phrase, the God power within, stayed with me, and I thought it would be a nice launching pad for our conversation.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that's what really stayed with you. And we're talking about the awakening as you're getting more and more into your spirituality. With that's the awakening though. It's because we find out one thing and it leads to another and it leads to another. So we're waking up to truth. And I think I was listening. Oh, I was reading my homework right before doing this, and I'm at work, so if we get distracted, that's why. Someone just came into the gym. If you hear something, there's a gym behind me. Um,
Okay.
but I was reading, and they were talking about the awakening, or what we're doing is truth studying. Basically, we're awaking to the truth because we have been. I heard it referred to as the dark. Um, we have been in the, I guess, a season of darkness, a lot of
Yeah.
non-truth, a lot of truth being hidden from us so that those that be can keep the power. Basically, we've handed over all our power to our politicians and our religions and stuff like that. So, and the power that we're talking about that we've handed over or that we've squashed was our own God power within
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Yes, I'm coming to that for sure. That and when I heard the God power within, I thought, oh, you know, we've been talking about this. It's a matter of us tapping into that God power. And and I know in previous conversations that we've had that we recorded, I think I mentioned the fact that I look upon Christ, the Son of God, we are the daughters of God, as being the example for us on earth. And we're at a season, a time of year where we're, you know, in this renewal time. It's springtime, and
Yeah.
we just celebrated Easter, Passover, Ramadan, it just finished. But there are all of these religious themed programs that are on the air that I've seen over and over again because, like I say, the more I get into spirituality, the more I want to be fed with
Hmm.
everything involved in spirituality. So that movies, TV shows, whatever, and and a film that I watched, I think it was The Greatest Story Ever Told, or some one of them. There was a scene around the crucifixion. And however many times I've seen it, this one scene kind of hit me this time, and I connected it with that phrase, the God power within. And this is the crucifixion. Christ is on on the cross. His hands are nailed to the cross. He's got the crown of thorns, and blood is coming everywhere. And at some point, while he's suffering like that, he says, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" And in that moment, I saw his humanity. I mean, I've always kind of looked at him as being, he's the Son of God, but he's a human on earth. But he had a strong connection to the God consciousness. And while he was walking on earth and spreading the gospel, he was also healing people, helping the blind to see, and helping those who were disabled to walk. And I thought, he really tapped into the God power within.
Hmm.
But then when he was on the cross and dying, and the crucifixion was happening, his humanity appeared. And he seemed to be, at least this is the way I interpret it. I want to hear what you think about it. He kind of disconnected maybe, or kind of lost his connection with God, and was saying, "Why are you forsaking me?" Up until that point, he was God connected and was able to do these things, which we should be able to tap in and do ourselves, which is what I want to get to. But at that moment, his humanity, his humanness, um,
Yeah.
appeared, and he says, "Why hast thou forsaken me?"
Yeah. It's funny because I've obviously heard that, in all my life, and I really didn't think about it until in a metaphysical way until you brought it up. Like before, as when I was just studying as a Christian, and we didn't understand that and I didn't understand that God is within us, that we're all expressions of God. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it sounds almost like he's saying, "Why have you done this to me?" But the reality
Yeah,
is, no one does anything to anyone, right?
exactly. Yeah,
We create our own lives, but
right,
he came here for that purpose.
right.
And yeah, that human side of him was kind of like, maybe I don't want to do this. Oh, because the prayer before, now I'm remembering the prayer before, I mentioned like they describe it as sweating tears from his body. He was very stressed about it. So he was having his humanness there too, because he did feel everything we felt. He was just at that highest embodied Christ consciousness that he is walking, just walking power, that God power. He was walking power, but he still had this human side. He still had ego. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He just had it
right.
managed. But so the prayer before, the night before, he prayed. He said, he prayed, the words were, oh man, I don't want to mess it up. But basically, he said, if there's a way where he doesn't have to do this, show him. But um, but he knows he does. And so then, like, he fought it for a second, like, oh, I don't want to do this. God, if you could, Father, if I could not do this, if there's a way where I don't have to do this, let me know. And then he resurrendered and said, but let it be. You know what I mean? This is why I'm here. So,
Yes,
that was that battle, right? That ego and his purpose and his soul purpose.
yes. So even Christ struggles, right?
Yeah,
His
exactly.
humanness comes out, the ego comes out. Yeah. And so when I heard, like I say, this time when I heard that, after hearing it for, I don't know, 1,000 times before, it struck me so differently. It's like, look at that. He's vulnerable, and he's having that human experience.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it kind of leads me to, like I say, I see Christ as the model for how we are to be on this earth. He set the example. And I
Right.
know he was here to sacrifice, he was this to sacrifice for us. And that's what is taught in the traditional, Christian religion.
Right.
But for that moment when he said, why has thou forsaken me? It's like, did you forget why you were here? It was like, okay, so this does sort of confirm maybe for me his humanness. But now I want to talk about kind of transition into before that, when he was walking the earth and he was spreading the gospel, and he tapped so deeply into his connection with the God consciousness, the God power, and was able to do the healings that he did. We should be able to do that too, right?
Mhm.
At least where I'm coming from
Well, yeah.
in
And
terms
that's
of the
what they taught.
spirituality.
Yeah. He said, what I do, you could do too, and even greater, but it is a matter of faith in yourself,
There.
in the God in yourself, in the Christ. Like he was, they call him Jesus Christ because his Christ consciousness, Christos, was so completely embodied, And if
Yes.
you got to that level back in those days, you would have been Gwendolyn Christos, and you'd be walking around healing people. But really, whenever he healed, he said to the people, "Your faith has healed you," you know,
Mm,
and what is the saying? The truth will set you free.
right.
And the truth is that we are all aspects of God. We're aspects of God because
Yeah.
we cannot not be, because all creation comes from God. I mean, but this pen is an aspect of God as well. You know what I mean? It has one purpose,
Absolutely.
to write, and then eventually this will break down into the nothingness that we break down into the nothingness and go back to the source. Um, Stardust. I saw something on Instagram where someone said he put decomposed human ashes underneath a microscope, and he
Mhm.
said it was like stardust. So
Oh,
we literally turn back to dust. Our
okay.
bodies, our souls and
Yeah.
spirit continue on, but our bodies
But
do.
our bodies, yes.
Yeah. And if you really think about it, nothing, it's substance, it's energy, it's everything is here. Everything's already here. It's just everything keeps getting created in certain different ways and matters. You know what I mean? There's nothing that will last forever, in the sense that the pen won't last forever as a pen,
Hmm.
but it's going to break down to that dust again, and then it's going to be reused for something else. You know,
Yes.
we're just recycling energy, and we're recycled energy,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Basically, huh? We
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the fact that we have God power, the God power within, I don't think a lot of us are even know about that or acknowledge it. And like you said, in order to tap into that, you have to have deep faith, right? You have to have faith.
Hmm.
Subconscious belief is how I see faith, right? You have to believe it in your subconscious to be able to tap into that, to be able to do the healing. Healing yourself. That's the other thing I was thinking about, because I, keep hearing from doctors about stuff going on with my health, and it's like, okay, but I'm not going to tap into that. I'm going to tap into,
Self healing.
yeah,
Um, so
to healing myself.
yeah.
They, I've recently was told the other day, I was told I got the results of the biopsy. I mentioned, having a biopsy before, and I got the results back, and they said, yeah, it's a non-aggressive cancer, but it's cancer. I said, not really. I just don't want to, I don't want to go there.
Right.
And so I want to be able to tap into my God power
Right.
to begin healing myself and then, radiate that out.
Yeah.
into the community, into society.
So you're going to start taking classes at Agape, right? It
I
will
think,
help.
probably eventually I will.
No, not eventually. Like
What?
I'm gonna call Michael and be like, Gwen's doing this class, and Gwen's got to get in there because it helps so much.
Sign
Gwen,
her up.
we've been doing this for a year, and I've been in my classes, and look how much I've grown. Because it's
Yeah.
not just from the classes; it's because in the classes, it's just helped me to open up more. So when I'm
Yeah.
studying it in the evening, and all the words that come from Ernest Holmes and Emerson and the Bible and everything we're learning,
Hmm.
it's living words from spirit. So when I'm studying, it opens me up more, and then I'm having downloads, and that's why my understanding, and that's what it is. It's a
Yeah.
knowing. It's an understanding. It's an understanding the knowing. The truth
The truth.
has
Yeah.
grown exponentially, which it really wouldn't have happened without the classes. And the healing
Mm.
part. Okay, so okay, you tapped into the God power, but that's what Science of Mind is all about. That's
Yeah, it
really
is.
the philosophy. So now it's getting you're embodying that realization, that knowing is what's happening.
Hmm.
It was
Hmm.
time, and you're like, hey, but you've been hearing this for years. As you've been going
Hmm.
to Agape, you've been hearing this for
I
years.
have. I have. Yeah.
And the prayer, the spiritual mind treatment, that's what it's about. That's why you acknowledge first. Okay, we're going to
Uh,
go through the steps. You acknowledge God is everything. God is in and is everything. It's the primary source. And
hmm.
the second part is unification. We are
Mm.
we are expressions of God.
That's key. Yeah.
Our bodies are just the materials that have been created.
Hmm.
And the idea when God said, I want to know what life would be like as Gwen,
Hmm.
you know. So
Hmm.
and so we're walking expressions of God, and that's why we're also creators, you know,
Hmm.
and that's why our mind, our thoughts, and our voices create. But we also create our illnesses.
Mm.
We are the ego. We've created as a consciousness. We created the world that we're in right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the awakening, the massive awakening that's happening, where I think we they say we're over the 50% range of like people awakened um,
Mm.
to their God power is what's going to change everything because now
Mhm.
we're recreating New Earth. So New Earth isn't like just a concept that's coming and we all get to go. New Earth is what is being created by everyone, by the consciousness of everyone here. Saying
Mhm.
like this is what we won't accept anymore,
Mhm.
and this is what we want.
And
And
did you say we're at that 50% point or we're
I've heard
approaching it
that we're
now?
above it. No, we're above it. And that's why everything's
We're
coming.
above it. Okay.
And that's
Mhm.
why New Earth can come. That's why we're having the changes. Um,
Mhm.
and so in this spiritual mind treatment, and that's why it's called spiritual mind treatment.
I was going to ask you
Change.
about that. Define that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what science of mind is all about. Like it's correcting the wrong
Mhm.
beliefs in our mind.
Mhm.
So that's beautiful that you're like the cancer or whatever. The
Mhm.
reality is cancer doesn't exist. We
It
create
doesn't exist
it doesn't exist.
because see,
We
I
believe
have to have that unification with God.
God
Like
doesn't have cancer. God doesn't create cancer.
doesn't create cancer. That doesn't exist in God's
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. So like for instance, my friend that um he was agape practitioner and the
Mhm.
shaman. What he does when he does his healings, he just taps in. He taps into the energy of the other person and then he sees where the ego has created things.
Mm.
So something in the ego created the cancer, so
Mhm.
then he just basically denies it, removes it.
Mhm.
And this denying thing, when you take your classes, you'll get more into that. That's one of the basics, and it's hard. It's a hard concept
Yeah, it
to
really is.
understand.
Mhm.
When I first started hearing it, I was like, yeah, but what about this? Or what about that? I'm like, we fought it and that's why you have to hear it and study it and see proof over and over. And then once you believe it, then it's done. You know what I mean? Once you fully believe it,
Yeah.
then it's good. And as a practitioner, what I'm saying to be, it's like my belief, if my belief gets to the point of Jesus strong enough,
Mm-hmm.
um, then it kind of helps the situation. It doesn't completely override, but when people came to Jesus for healing, they fully believed that it was Jesus healing. And
Yeah.
so therefore they knew that when they went to Jesus and whatever Jesus did, they were going to be healed. It was a complete belief. But he would say, your faith healed you. He used to tell people, your faith healed you. You know,
Yeah.
their faith made Jesus the healer, but really it's
Mm.
just whatever you believe.
It's what you believe.
So,
Yeah.
and that's why when they do testing, when they're testing medicine and procedures and they test against a placebo, they're telling
Mm-hmm.
people this pill is going to heal you. And
Mm-hmm.
they take the pill, which is just a sugar pill, and they start healing
Mm-hmm.
because it's their belief system. It says it heals, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they have to see, like, okay, this medicine that we created, does it work better than what the human mind already does on its own? It's
Mm.
it's so in our face. It's so in our face
It is
that
in our face.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
And it's
doctors.
and the other thing is, because so I think that so we have the ability to tap into our God power. And with that God power, you know, all the negativity, all of that can go away. But somehow we don't recognize it. And certainly there's no, if you can't recognize it, you can't have unification around it. And we just have to learn to accept it and to use our power. I
Well,
mean,
we're always using it. It's not that we're tapping into it because we are it. We are walking around creating. But it's, are we creating good, or what we would consider good, or are we creating what we consider bad? It's not. We can't not do it. It's
just,
literally
yeah,
happening all the
all
time.
the time.
Everything we do, and that's why consciousness is important, and
Yeah,
mindfulness, because instead of just reacting to everything and just being here and just walking around ignorant to to your own power and creating good
yeah,
things, creating bad things, creating misery or creating joy, unconsciously, consciously know that everything you're doing is you're creating. And you mean, so now you know that um that you are the God power.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And now you know that something in you created the illnesses, a belief. Like, it's not just you, it's a conscious. We consciously created cancers, and we consciously created
hmm
aging. We
hmm
consciously created our bodies dying and stuff like that. So
hmm
we have consciously done that. We can individually start um, consciously reversing that, which is a trend. I'm hearing more and more people being like, I'm not going to age anymore. I'm going to reverse my age.
Is
So
that right?
every single day this week, I've heard someone say that.
I love that. I love
Like,
that.
that's
Because
beautiful.
I've always had, I call it a Peter Pan complex. Not that I won't grow up, but I won't grow old. I just refuse. I've just refuse. And so yes,
I
and
know.
and and,
Look how
and we
beautiful.
talked
Like,
and we talked about before how important our thoughts and our spoken word. I don't know about the
mhm.
written word. All those are the invisible, and they are
Oh,
the sort of the
spoken,
cause.
written, spoken,
And
written thoughts, everything. Everything, because we're everything we do, we're creating,
we're
and everything
creating.
we take in too, and that's important too. Is what are we listening to? So I like purify everything, keep it on the positive. Like, I'm on YouTube all the time listening to people with all the positive stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know, because
yeah.
that's what is influencing you. Yeah.
It's that cause and effect, right?
Hmm.
If you put negative stuff out there, the results are going to be negative. That's the effect.
Yeah.
And so you
That
got to keep
saying,
it
you are
positive.
what you eat,
Oh,
I literally just hit me right now. I don't
oh,
think it's just all about what we eat physically. I think we are what we eat. I think we are what we take in.
yeah, yeah, we are. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
As I coming up on my 75th year.
Right?
I'm in
Okay,
my 75th
I was
year.
gonna say, like, do you want to tell your age? Because you don't look 75. And you've been on
Yeah,
that, oh, I'm not aging thing for a
I
while before you even knew how that worked. But
right.
like when I tell
Right.
people your age, they're like, what?
I know. I love that reaction. Yeah. Coming up on my 75th year, I just am not going to age.
Yeah,
And and you are what you eat, what you put into your body physically, and also what you put into your psychological, right? Your
exactly. Yeah.
emotional self. Yeah. It makes all the difference. It really does.
Yeah. So on the healing, I did this the other morning with this. Okay, we're going to go over the spiritual mind treatment because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Uh, acknowledging God is everything. God is everything. God is perfect. God is love. God is infinite mind. Right.
Yes.
Unification. We are expressions of God. We are made of God. We are expressions of God. God is living through us in our experience. And we
Mm-hmm.
do also have our ego. Our
Yes.
bodies take orders from our mind. And so we
Mm-hmm.
have two minds. We have the mind of God that we tap into, and we have our ego mind. And we
Mm-hmm.
can choose who's going to control the body.
Mm-hmm.
So before I got up the other morning, I decided to do a spiritual mind treatment in bed. And I was like, I said, God is everything. God is all. God is love and perfect health. God is infinite mind and infinite wisdom. And I am an expression of God, which means I am infinite wisdom and I'm perfect health. And my body, every single cell in my body
Mm-hmm.
is tapped into infinite wisdom and it has experience, not aged. It has experienced many years of experience, 56 years on this
Mm-hmm.
earth of experience of how to run my body, the machine of my body. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I do have an injury, it knows exactly what to do because it's already tapped into the infinite wisdom of God, but it also has all these years of experience of how to fix it. So therefore, I don't need to get sick. If I have an injury, my cells know what to do, and it goes directly to the injury to heal it. And then so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's the order, you know, and that's it. No, that's the acknowledgement still.
Oh, that's the knowledge. Okay.
Unifications. The order is because I had rolled my ankle. I said, so therefore, this pain I feel in my ankle, I'm feeling this pain so that the rest of my body is telling the cells what to do. And now my body is, and I'm picturing it. Now my body is sending the instructions to heal this this pain in my ankle, this
Mm-hmm.
sprain or something like that. And my body knows what to do and it's healing it as we speak. Everything is in the present. My body
Yeah.
is healing and every single cell in my body right now is healing anything that is not at its optimum health.
Mm-hmm.
My each cell knows what to do and it's healing it right now. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
body. Thank you for being infinitely intelligent. Thank you for tapping into the intelligence to operate this machine perfectly in full health. Um, that's that's the thankfulness. You thank yourself because you're a God. Thank you, God, for being in me. Thank you, God, for being an expression of this perfect body through this perfect body in perfect health.
Mm-hmm.
And I take these words and I connect it to the universe and I say, and so it is,
And
because it
so it
is.
is.
Amen.
Yeah. So in the
And I'm
traditional,
going to back up a little bit because when you pray for someone else with it, you're really praying for yourself. With everything I know, I said, I am perfect health. I am perfect. And I know this about me. I also know this about Gwen.
about you. Yeah. Yeah.
I also know this about Gwen. Gwen is perfect
Mm-hmm.
health. And all of her cells know exactly what to do to
Mm-hmm.
work perfectly for her body to be this perfect, healthy expression of God on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no illness in Gwen's body because
Mm-hmm.
her cells have the experience to fix anything that needs to be fixed at any moment. And at this very moment, Gwen is being healed. Gwen
Yes.
is healed. Gwen is perfect and healthy and well.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I
Thank you.
accept that.
body.
I accept that.
And so it is.
And so it is. So in the traditional Christian religions and in the Bible, I think, I told you I hadn't really read the Bible, um, but the expression "be still and know that I am God," which sounds pretty straightforward, but it is a bit of an abstract sort of concept. But I'm interpreting it now in where I am in the development that I have in spirituality, that should be interpreted to mean that this is a direction to remove the ego,
Yes.
be still, remove that ego, and know that I am God, and use that God power, right? And
Hmm.
that mind treatment that you like you just did. So that's what that means, right? Because it seems like I say it's kind of it seems very straightforward with the language, but it's a bit of an abstract concept, in the
If you break it up,
but
it's be still.
be still.
No,
Leave that ego out.
be still. No, I am God.
I am God. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. I I'm telling you, this is really, I don't know, it's very powerful stuff. But it's very, I mean, like like we were saying earlier, you have to keep reminding yourself
Yeah,
about this. It's you have to remind yourself about it constantly.
yeah.
Is what it, and that's what it's
Until
going
you
to take
know,
for you
until you absolutely know.
until
So
you
there's people
know
walking around that
that you
know they're
know.
manifesting their whole lives and everything's.
Yes,
And
yes, yes, yes. So now, and I think we talked about this once before, but I'm going to bring it up again because we talked about not only spiritual mind treatment, but about of affirmations.
hmm.
And affirmations isn't a denial, right, of the human experience
Right.
necessarily, but it's about the activation of the God power, right?
Yeah,
That's how I now see it
yeah,
as where I am in my spiritual development.
right.
I see affirmations
You can do
as,
affirmations. You can do it as denials too. And it can be both, but you're affirming what you want to believe, what you believe. It should be you're affirming what you believe, but you're really affirming what you want to believe, what you want to get in there. Um, there's a way of doing affirmations. The
mhm,
reason why some people say affirmations don't work is because they say something, but their subconscious doesn't really believe it.
that's the key, the
Yeah.
subconscious, right? It's
So
got to
one
go
of
in the
my yeah,
subconscious.
yeah. So one of my girlfriends, she does her affirmations. She says she argues the point,
Mm,
like is it as in court. So and there is a type from Ernest Holmes' days, the spiritual mind treatments. There was like the way I did it just now is the affirmative. It's an affirmative prayer, but there was another way that they did it too, which was an argumentative prayer, meaning you would say like, God is source, God is everything, and so therefore there is no cancer, and then you prove the point. Like, how could there be cancer? There's like,
yeah,
would God give himself cancer? Of course, God would not give himself cancer.
no,
Is God imperfect? Of course, God's not imperfect. Does God not know what he's doing? You argue the point um, until you're like, that's just completely ridiculous. It has to be no cancer. You have to be totally healthy.
right.
And that's just another way of
Yeah,
treating the mind, treating the truth. So even in affirmations, you could do it that way. Like, there is no such thing as illness. There's no such thing as aging. Aging we made up.
yeah,
We kind of just did that. Aging we made up. It's a concept. Why would we be aging?
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Why would we?
yeah. And if we created this, we can uncreate it. We can decide to age backwards. If we if our thoughts control what happened to us, then we can change our thoughts, change your thinking, change your life. I guess that's where that came from.
Yes.
Yeah.
And was that
That was
Ernest?
Ernest Holmes.
It
Yeah.
was Ernest Holmes.
Thinking,
Okay.
thinking
Hmm.
change your life. And look how well known that is and powerful that is, but you don't
It
really
is.
think about
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
completely until you fully embodied it, which I think I just did when it came up. I was like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness. This is wonderful. I mean, every
It's
time I have a
fun.
conversation.
It's getting fun, right? Because we're really beginning to
Yes.
embody it, and then
Yes.
you're like, what can we create now? You know, and I know people like that. They're like, when they're like fully in it, they're like, I'm going to create this. This is what I want my life to be, and it
Yeah.
happens. And the stronger you believe in it, the faster things happen. You know,
Yeah.
so um, what a blessing that you started this podcast with us a year ago, or videocast,
Hmm.
and look how much
Hmm.
we've grown into this,
I
and
know.
now I'm
I
at this point, it's like, what do I want to create in my life?
Right, right. Oh, this is fantastic. Um, I am getting so much, and I you know, haven't been documenting it, like writing things down, but I can feel the growth. I'm
You're getting
recognizing.
downloads now, aren't you? You're
I'm
getting
sorry.
awareness. You're getting downloads now. You're getting
Yeah,
awareness now.
yeah. I really am. I am getting downloads, and at different, points of the day. It's not
Yeah,
like, any one time. Yeah. It's just, and it's been fantastic. It really has. It feels really, really good because, you're open somehow. And
yeah,
what it is I feel surrendered. I
yeah,
feel like I've just surrendered myself to the God power within me. And I'm recognizing it and trying to give it a lot more, so it becomes more dominant, in my personality and my
yeah,
in my way of walking on this earth. And I think I said this before that everything I do, I am now incorporating my spirituality in it. So the work that I do, whatever I do, I'm
yeah,
incorporating that spirituality element and realm in everything I do because, I feel like I'm getting to feel like I keep fluctuating back and forth because I'm still new at it, but I recognize the God power within me and being able to use that in a way that is going to benefit the humanity.
yeah,
Yeah, basically, that's what I see. So coming up, we talk about affirmations. We have a friend that is in the process or has created a um character, I guess I
yeah.
should
It's a
call that.
character.
Yeah. That shares affirmations on a daily, at least maybe a weekly, but probably a daily basis.
Mhm.
And we're going to be talking with her about that pretty soon. How this idea came to her, what it is exactly, and how you can access it. Okima Maxim, that's her last name, right?
Yes.
Is the guest who will be coming up soon. So you want to pay attention to that. But if you heard something that really kind of, joggled something in you, caused you to react in some way, we would love to hear from you about that. And you can place your comments in the space below this video. And of course, I always ask you to subscribe. It's free. And what it'll do is it'll give you an opportunity to be notified whenever we post new videos on this channel. And we're continuing to grow together. So I would love to hear where you are now and where you started. Anything that you heard in the recording today that sort of stands out for you. We'd love to hear that, and we'll share that with the rest of the community. But on behalf of Tiffany Lee, for now, I'm Gwendolyn Flynn, and we'll see you next time.